Hi, how are you?
Good.
We missed you on Saturday.
I know. I was so busy with my two little ones.
Oh, it's nice though. That's nice. I would take that over anything any day.
Yeah. And I
That's,
had the dogs too, so it was crazy.
you were definitely missed.
It looked like it was really nice.
Yeah.
How you been?
I'm really, really good.
Good.
It's been really good. Yeah. Um, I've just been trying to get the word out and just trying to help as many people as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just, because of my own journey. And I'm like, when I figured it out, I'm like, everybody needs to know this. This is
Right.
So we're gonna wait a few more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I am gonna try to figure out my end here because Zoom changed things on me, and I'm like,
Oh,
I don't know how to work this thing, but I'll figure it out. Okay, much better. How are the kids?
they're good. Everybody's doing well, thankfully. How about you guys?
Everybody's good. When you have little ones, right? Your days just like zoom by,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but everybody.
Now, your granddaughter, is she in New York or?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Anthony, it's Anthony's baby, and he lives a
Right.
few blocks from me, which is really nice.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So I watch her 2 days a week, and then her other grandmother watches her 2 days a week.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's nice.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice.
How old is she now?
10 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is the fun age.
Yes.
You still put them down and they stay put, or you could
Yeah.
play with them. So it's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna wait till 35 and see if anybody else pops in.
Hmm.
And if not, we're gonna get started. And I said, I'm doing this. Even if nobody's there, I'm gonna be talking to myself. So thank you for coming on.
You're so funny.
Because it is being recorded, and then I will share the recording with the people that like had to work
Hmm.
or couldn't make it for whatever reason.
Right, right, right. Okay.
So, and I actually just got a text about the link, so we'll see if they make it on.
Hmm.
Can you hear my dogs?
Oh.
No? Okay, perfect. Because they're going crazy downstairs.
Hmm.
And your parents look good.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. How about your mom?
She's doing good. She's doing good. I have her like, no, you can't eat that.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to start doing that. I'm such a sweet tooth person.
I am too, but I figured out workarounds. And so
Yeah.
I'll be sharing a little bit of that today.
Yeah.
Um, but I have figured out things. The whole thing is blood sugar. As long as your blood
Yeah.
sugar stays stabilized, you're in good.
Hmm. Oh, now I hear them a little bit. It's not very loud. It's very like faint. The
Okay.
dogs.
Okay. Yeah, so it's all about that. That's like, the foundation.
Hmm. Yeah. And what triggered this? You were just having a lot of issues
Yeah,
for
so I was
you.
diagnosed with thyroid disease. And
Oh.
yeah, and what they call hyperinsulinemia,
Uh-huh.
which is a fancy word for insulin resistance.
Uh-huh.
And that's what started the whole thing. And
The
then my
whole thing.
husband also was sick too. Well, right around the same time, but very different than what I had.
Yeah, mom told me he was not so well.
Yeah, yeah. And like what worked for me worked for him because everything is foundational and it all starts with the
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
um so now thank God we're doing really well.
Yeah,
He
that's good.
lost a whole lot of weight.
Yeah, I saw that in the
He lost a
pictures.
lot.
But
He's
so did you. I mean, you lost weight. You
I
could
did
tell the
too.
difference.
Yeah, I did too. But I feel like he's more drastic because he's always been heavy.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's just like when people see him, they're like, "What?" Because they're not used to seeing him like that. Like I always fluctuated.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did too, but he really lost a lot of weight. All right,
Yeah.
get started. So I am gonna have to introduce myself for the people that that see it later. So, okay. So my name is Alyssa, and I am a health and wellness coach. And as I was just saying, my journey started because I was diagnosed with thyroid disease and hyperinsulinemia. And so what ended up happening was the doctor had put me on medication, and I um I went on the medication for a couple of weeks, and I was feeling good, and then I started feeling the same symptoms again. So I was not feeling well. Even though I was on the medication, my body was still feeling the same way after a couple of weeks of feeling good. So then the doctor wanted to change my medication, and he wanted to like lower it or make it more whatever it was. I can't remember exactly, but
Yeah.
that's when I was like, no, I don't want to live on medication for the rest of my life. So let me figure something else out. And I went down this rabbit hole and figured out that you can use nutrition, you can use food as medicine. And that's just the way things were intended to be. Hi, Yvonne. Thank you for joining.
Hi.
Um, and so once I started changing my eating habits and I started adding little things in here and there, like, a couple of like vitamin D, for example. So, like a couple of supplements I started taking, I started doing like bone broth. Once I started doing these things, I noticed that I started feeling better. And so
Mhm.
then I really went all in and really completely just changed everything. I wasn't a vegetable person. I did not eat any vegetables. So if anybody comes to me and says I can't do this because I don't like vegetables, not true. So I never ate vegetables, and I figured out how to get them in just by making things that I like and then adding vegetables into them. So I love Asian food. So I would just chop up so in the past, I would get Asian food and pull out all the vegetables and eat the meat and the rice. So I started chopping up the vegetables really small, getting them into the sauce, making them really soft, and then I would be able to eat them. And so there's just like there's a way for everything. Um, and so that's how this all started. And as we go along in the next few days, I'll be putting my story in, like intertwining it. Um, because a lot of the things I'm going to talk about are the things that I went through. So
Mhm.
today we're going to be talking about our mindset, metabolism, and the key. There's three metabolic disruptors that people don't realize that we deal with. So we're going to talk about those things today because they're all connected. So the first thing we're going to talk about is mindset because that's super important. Um, I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, but um, I remember a few years ago, a friend of mine, she was like always going to the gym and she's like, oh, you got to go to the gym with me. And I knew I needed to do it, but I couldn't do it because I just wasn't in the right headspace. And so I'd be like, I just can't. I'm just not in the right headspace right now for that. So I always knew that it was something that it had to start in my head first before I could do anything. And not everybody realizes that. And so um,
Mhm.
I wanted to talk about that first because that's super important. So there's two different mindsets. So there's the limiting beliefs, and then there's the growth. So fixed beliefs and growth. So fixed mindset and growth mindset, right? And they're two different things. One is where you have limiting beliefs, and so you feel like, okay, you say things to yourself like, I can't do that, I'm not good at this, I'll never be able to change. Those are the limiting beliefs. And then there's the growth beliefs where you realize that you can do these things, you can grow, you can stretch and do the things that you weren't able to do in the past, right? So I don't know if you guys have the workbook, but if you do, it's really good to follow along. And if you don't, you can just write things down, and let me know, and I'll get the workbook over to you. I sent it through the email.
Yeah.
And so the first thing we need to do is identify those limiting beliefs. So when you need to just realize when you're saying like, I can't do this, it's too hard, I don't have the funds, um I don't have the willpower. That's a big one. I don't have the willpower to stop eating the sweets, or I don't have the willpower to make those vegetables so that I can eat a nutritious meal. So you need to catch those limiting beliefs, and the best way to do that is write them down. When you realize that you're saying those things, write it down. Keep a journal, um, and this way you become more aware of what you're doing. Because a lot of times we say these things, or we tell ourselves these things in our heads, and we don't even realize it. It's just like an everyday thing. Oh, sorry. People are waiting to come in. Okay. Sorry, sorry, sorry. How do I do that? I'm sorry. Hold on one second.
I don't know if it's my connection, Alyssa, but I can't hear you that well. It may be my connection.
Jen, can you hear me?
Yeah, but I have an earpiece.
Okay, I can hear you clearly.
Oh.
I don't hear you as clearly.
Hmm. All right, hold on one sec. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Is that any better? Not
A
really.
little. A
Mm.
little.
All right, I'm gonna have to figure that out.
And you have your speaker all the way up, Yvonne?
You know what? That's what I went to look for, but because I can't find it, I'm not the techie one here. I don't
Mhm.
see it underneath any of these. Like I went under more.
Are you on an iPad or
No, just a laptop.
a laptop? So
'Cause
your
I would have to, I
speaker?
think, sign out.
No,
No, no,
no.
no. I think maybe if I just do speaker.
Yeah,
No.
and just try to drag it to the highest.
Yeah, no, that didn't work.
That's
Mm.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
let me see, gallery. Yeah, I need to minimize the page. Yeah. How about this? Okay, there it is. I exited the full screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that better? No.
Yeah, I raised up the volume.
Okay.
It's really loud. Or it's on the loudest now. Okay, now you can hear my dog.
Okay. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Were you able to let the other people in?
No, I didn't see them. So,
Oh.
all right. So once you figure out and you realize that you're having these thoughts and you write them down throughout the day, even if you do it like in your phone, which for me that's always the easiest thing because we always have it with us. And then you can start reframing those limiting beliefs. So when you catch yourself thinking like in that fixed mindset, you're going to say, is this really true? Or is there another way to look at this or to view this situation? So, for example, if this was one of my things, I failed at this before, so I'll fail at it again. Right. So instead of saying something like that, you can say, I've learned from my past experiences. And so I'm going to use that to help me succeed this time, which is it's a true statement, right? When we fail at something, it's not really failing, it's really a learning lesson. And so we can change how we go about it the next time so that we can succeed in that. So that's always a good practice to have, is to catch those thoughts and reframe them, right? So you don't want to keep it in a negative aspect. You want to change it to something that's going to be positive. So practice reframing at least one limiting thought each day. So you're going to write down something you're thinking negative about, and you're going to reframe that so that you turn it into a growth mindset. Also, challenges. So that's also a huge thing because a lot of times this is just like human nature. We're just like, oh, it's too hard, I can't do it. And instead of doing that, instead of just like giving up, you need to look at a challenge as an opportunity to grow. Because when we accept those challenges and we take them on, we grow. So we really, if we do the same thing each and every day, we're not growing. We're just doing the same thing each and every day. So when we take on challenges, then we're able to grow and expand ourselves. And so that's something else that I want you to keep mind of, right? So there's a lot of times we're presented with challenges throughout the day, and it might be something small. So even those small ones, I want you to, take hold of them and try to stretch yourself. And that's also going to build confidence, because when you take those small challenges on and you succeed in them, it's going to build your confidence. You're going to say, wow, I did that. I was able to do it. So I can do more than what I thought I can do. You're going to focus on effort. This is a huge thing. A lot of us, especially when it comes to health and losing weight, we focus on the end result and we don't focus on the effort that we're doing. And so in this day and age, everything is like instant, everything happens fast, it's like a microwave world. But when it comes to our health, it's not like that. It takes time. Like it took me 40 something years to become so sick that I was to the point where I couldn't get through my day without a nap. I can't fix that in 2 days. That takes time to fix. And so that's something that we have to keep in mind, and we have to recognize that the effort is important. It's not, don't look at just the outcome. We need to value the process. We need to recognize that effort leads to improvement regardless of the immediate outcome. So if you're working on eating healthier, focus on the consistent efforts that you're making, like, choosing a nutritious meal, choosing nutrient dense foods, rather than just expecting those instant results, especially people that are trying to lose weight. They're like, give me a pill so I can lose 10 pounds in a week. That doesn't work, because once you stop taking those pills, you're going to gain it right back, because you have not set yourself up for success. So you're keeping to the same old habits and you're just going to gain it right back. Okay, learn from criticism. I have a hard time with this with my husband. But what I have realized is that you can learn from criticism. So Instead of looking at it as a personal attack, we need to view it as valuable information so that we can improve. Because if this is what he says all the time, if you stink and nobody tells you you stink, how you gonna fix that? You're gonna go around every day stinking, right? So take that information, that criticism, don't take it as an attack, but take it as valuable information so that you can improve things. And it's good to ask for feedback, you know. Have someone, if you're gonna start this health journey, have someone that's in your corner that you know you can trust and say, how am I doing? You know, let them give you some feedback. And sometimes it's going to be hard to hear, but it's good to hear it because sometimes we think we're doing everything right and we're not. And so even like sometimes just working out, you might be, this happened to me. I swore I was doing squats the right way, and my niece was like, no, you're not doing it right. And I'm like, well, what am I doing wrong? She couldn't tell me what I was doing wrong, but she knew my form was not correct. So I had to go to like a few different people, like to show them how I'm doing squats so I could figure out what I was doing wrong. So it's important. Feedback is important. Um, patience. Patience is important, and persistence, right? You don't want to give up. You don't want to give up. Instead of staying committed when it's tough, right? That's hard. How many of us, raise your hand if you've been in a situation either with food, exercise, something in your life that you're trying to improve and it got hard and you quit? How many of us have been there? Okay, all of us. We've all been there. Yeah. So if we quit, we're never going to get to the end result, right? That's just the way it is. So we need to continue pushing forward. And so that's how all this ties in. Um, we need to continue to push through. We need that feedback. We need to focus on the journey and not just the end. It's like it's all one big package. Um, and also like just loving to learn things. And that's what helped me with this journey. Like I was so engulfed in it. It was just like I was like a sponge and I needed to know everything that had to do with what I was going through, and every piece of food, what was it doing to my body? That's really what helped me because I've been on diets before. Like I was telling Jen before, like I fluctuated in weight since my 20s. But what helped me this time was realizing what the food is doing inside of me because I love to learn. And since I've learned all that and I know what's happening inside my body now, if I eat a cookie, um, it stops me from eating the cookie because I know what it's gonna do. You know, so now I'm gonna look at Oreos as poison. Like I will not eat like any packaged cookies like that. To me, it's just like I know what it's gonna do in my body. And so since I've learned that, I it's easier for me to stick with this. So I mean, this whole summer I've been at barbecues. I mean, this weekend alone, there were like 3 barbecues, and I was able not to eat all the stuff that was there, you know, because I've learned. I've learned. And so it's important to just absorb the information, but not just absorb the information, you also have to put it into practice because information is not transformation, right? We have to put it into practice to be able to make it work. And then to surround yourself with a growth minded community. And so that's why I created the Facebook community, because I feel like it's important for all of us to be on the same page and have someone that we can turn to um, if we need advice or just like help us push along or cheer us on, whatever it is. Um, it's important to have that community that's going in the same direction as you. I still come in contact with a lot of family members that are like, oh, oh, you still not eating this? Or like they just give me pushback. Like, why can't you do that? Why can't you just eat this? It's only one time. It's not going to kill you. And, all these stupid little remarks. I can't, like, I need somebody that's going to be running with me alongside of me, not somebody that's trying to pull me back, and that's what we need, because it's not healthy for us to, like, we're trying to run in this direction and they're like trying to pull us back as we're trying to move forward. So it's really, really important to have a community of people that you can turn to and you can talk to, um, and that they can help you move forward. So we're going to move on from mindset. But before we do you guys have any questions regarding mindset?
Alyssa, that's my biggest struggle. I know what's good for my body. I know how to eat healthy. I've got lots of vegetables in my refrigerator. I got a lot of healthy nuts and healthy flowers. So I know what's good for my body and I know how it makes me feel. But it's just a mindset. I think I tend to look at it like sometimes I change it from being a healthy lifestyle to, oh, I just can't keep eating like this, and so I fluctuate back and forth because I want to enjoy, or at least thinking that I'm enjoying what it is I'm consuming. I'll give you a perfect example. I went to the store yesterday. I said, okay, I'm going to start fasting tomorrow. I'm going to do my intermittent fasting. I'm going to get on this train. Oh, well, let me have a little piece, bought me a little piece of almond chocolate cake. Man, I was belching and belching and belching, and I just felt horrible. And I'm like, Sangana, like, stupid, why do you do this to yourself? But yet I consumed it.
Yeah.
So it is my mindset. It's always like, I have this thing, is it sustainable?
Mm-hmm.
And I know eating healthy is sustainable. I just choose not to make it sustainable. So yeah.
So it's
Just wanted to
important.
say that.
It's important to make it sustainable, right?
Yeah.
So for example, I'm a sweets girl. I love my sweets, my desserts, like I need it. But so what I do is I made my own like chocolate chip cookies. I just Does it taste like a bakery chocolate? No, it doesn't. But it's good enough to satisfy that sweet tooth, and it's not going to raise my blood sugar. And so since it doesn't do that, it's not going to affect my metabolism.
Yeah.
Okay, Yvonne. So there are ways that you can make it sustainable.
Mhm.
Were you going to say something, Jen?
No, I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah, so there are ways that you can make it sustainable. And I think that's what helps a lot with my mindset. So what I said before, looking at some certain foods as poison, and then just finding replacements for them. That helps a lot, especially with I had a funeral today and I got home. I didn't really have time to cook or anything, so I ate some eggs real quick, but I had to have my cookie and my chocolate. And I don't eat one dessert. I eat two desserts. I always have at night, well, after dinner, I always have a ginger cookie and
Mm.
a piece of dark chocolate with almonds every day. Every single day I have that. But I know it doesn't affect my sugar, so my sugar doesn't spike with it, because I make sure that I'm eating it right after dinner, not on an empty stomach. And those are some of the things that we talk about in the program also, like would dive deeper into our mindset and how do we eat these things where it's not going to affect our blood sugar as much. So like eating them after your meal, eating your vegetables first. That's all really important. So our metabolism, we're going to talk about metabolism. If I can get you back up. All right. So metabolism. So think of an engine of a car. So the engine of the car is going to help the car to run, and that's the same way our metabolism is. Our metabolism is our engine, and that's what gives us the energy to go throughout the day. And so when let's just say you're driving your car and the gas tank is low, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with that?
Get more gas.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to get more gas. So our
Mhm.
body is the same exact way in that When our fuel is low, we're going to get more gas, right? We're going to go to the dinner table to eat, or sometimes just the pantry or the fridge or 7-Eleven or whatever's the closest thing to fuel our tank. The problem is that we need good fuel and we don't always give ourselves good fuel. So just like with the car's engine, the better gas you give it, the longer that car is going to run. And we, especially with gas, I don't know if you guys do this. Tell me if you do this or not. I used to always get the cheapest gas.
Mhm.
Do you guys get the cheaper gas or you go for the more expensive gas?
I try to do better, like medium.
Medium. I used to always get the cheapest gas. Now I don't. Now I'll go medium or the other one. Now my car now uses diesel. So
Ah,
I have no options. But I love it because I get so much more gas mileage with the diesel, right? So I could go a
um,
lot further with diesel. So same way with us. We need to fuel ourselves with good fuel, right? So if we eat, let's say we're hungry and we eat pasta, it's not gonna fuel us. It's not gonna get us as far as if we have a salad with maybe some chicken or some seeds. That's gonna get us a lot further. That's more nutritious. The pasta, we're gonna feel full for the moment, and it's good comforting food, but we're going to be hungry soon after that. How many of you have had pasta and then it's like you're so full and then 2 hours later you're hungry again, right? That happens all the
absolutely.
time with
Mhm.
pasta.
Yes.
Um,
More so with Chinese food with me.
yes,
I can stay
yes,
Oh,
full on
yes.
the pasta.
the Chinese food. Yep. Yeah. So it's important that we, put quality fuel in our engine. And when we don't do it, and we don't do it over and over and over and over and over again, that's when we start destroying our engine or our metabolism. So the quality of what we're eating really, really matters. And that is why I started looking at food differently. Like certain foods are good for me and they're gonna fuel me up, and certain foods are gonna tear my body apart. That's why I look at them as poison. Because I mean, I wore a glucose monitor for a while, and I can see that if I had like pasta, let's say pasta with nothing, like I would be hungry, I won't eat anything, but I'll go straight to the pasta. My sugar would just spike straight up and down. Like it was crazy. It went like that. But if I had some salad, a soup, a salad, and some chicken, and then maybe just a teeny tiny bit of pasta, it was just like a little hump. So now your glucose is not being as affected, which is what we need. That's what we want. And so fuel is super, super important. So that's what our metabolism is. Our metabolism is the engine to our body, and we need to fuel it good. We need to give it good fuel. So good, nutritious food is what we need. And then the second thing, oh, not the second thing, the next thing is the three major metabolic disruptors. So the first thing is insulin resistance, and that has a lot to do with our blood sugar. So insulin resistance is when we eat something, so let's say we have an apple, we chew it, it gets into our stomach and our intestines, and then our body pulls the nutrients from that apple, and that's what gives us the energy to go. So insulin resistance is when we eat an apple, our body pulls the nutrients, and then there's the sugar in an apple. Um, so now we have the sugar in our blood, and our pancreas pushes out the insulin and tells the insulin, go get that sugar and bring it into the cells. So like carries the sugar into our cells to make us use it for energy. Well, if we're eating the wrong things over and over and over again, our cells can no longer accept the sugar that's in there. So whether it's from an apple, a cookie, a pasta, rice, or whatever it is, candy, if we keep eating this over and over and our cells can no longer accept that sugar, well, now it's just floating around. And then our insulin stays high. So now we have high sugar, high insulin. A lot of people don't realize this, but you'll know if you're going to become a diabetic by your insulin levels, because your insulin will be high even though your sugar's low. Your insulin will stay high for probably 10 years before you become a diabetic. So it's just like a long process. And so insulin resistance is when your cells can no longer accept the sugar, and so it's like resisting the insulin. And that's what happened to me. I had a thyroid issue, and they say the one that makes you skinny, the thyroid, right? But I also had insulin resistance. So what was happening was my thyroid was overactive. So I should have been losing weight, but I had the insulin resistance, which is making me gain weight. And so I was gaining almost a pound every single day without doing anything. Like my eating didn't change, my movement, what I was doing on a daily basis, that didn't change. And I was just gaining and gaining and gaining. And then finally I was like, I need to go to the doctor. Something's wrong. And that's what they said. And there's a lot of other little nuances that go with this, but insulin resistance is it's the foundation of a lot of diseases, a lot, like type 2 diabetes, PCOS, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. This all starts with insulin resistance. And so we need to identify, and you'll see in the workbook how you can identify these symptoms that you get with insulin resistance, like fatigue after meals, belly fat, frequent hunger, feeling tired after you eat. All those things are symptoms of insulin resistance. And there was a statistic that said about 90% of Americans are insulin resistant and they don't know it. So that's insulin resistance, and that's something that I want you guys to be aware of, so that start trying to be mindful of the things that you're thinking of, that you're dealing with, to see if that's something that may be one of the causes of the things that you're going through.
I'm sorry, Alyssa, I have to interrupt you. I have to leave because I have to go count tithes. But I have a question regarding the replay. Where will that be at? Will that be on Facebook, or is that someplace else?
It's going to be on Facebook.
On Facebook? Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Good night.
you're
I'm sorry.
welcome. No problem. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. And I don't know why people are saying they can't get in. I don't know. You guys got in. Okay. So the next thing is inflammation. And a lot of people deal with inflammation and they don't even realize it. We did a intermittent fasting challenge. And when they started the challenge, just like 2 weeks into it, they were like, wow, I didn't realize how inflamed I was. Because once you stop eating so much and you stop eating the foods that you shouldn't be eating, all that inflammation starts like calming down, and then you realize how you should be feeling, because when we're dealing with it each and every day, it's almost like we're just so used to it. It's like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to feel, but it's really not how you're supposed to feel. And so inflammation is, so we go back to the car analogy. It's like if you put gas in your car and your gas tank is full and you're still trying to put the gas in, the nozzle clicks, so it doesn't allow any more gas in, so that we don't overfill the tank, right? And so our body does not have that clicker. So when we put food in our body, we just keep eating and eating and eating until we feel like, okay, I'm full. Or a lot of times, like me, I'm like, oh, I'm stuffed. Um, and so if we put, let's just say our car didn't have that clicker to stop the gas and we kept
Mhm.
filling it, it's just going to come pouring out. It's going to run down the side of the car, all over the wheels. And before you know it, we're going to be standing in a pool of gas. Now, if that were to happen, that would be flammable. It'll be toxic. It'll be
Mhm.
dangerous for us. It's the same thing with our bodies. So when we overeat, we're overloading the tanks in our bodies. So we're, overloading our cells. And then our body has to put the extra food or fuel somewhere. So then it starts, overstuffing the fat cells, and then it starts creating more because it needs to put it somewhere. And then that becomes toxic inside your body. So it's like the same thing as standing in that pool of gasoline. It's flammable, it's inflammation. And that sets us up for so many other problems.
Mm.
Um, and then, so we went over um, insulin resistance. We just went over, not fatigue, inflammation. And then the third thing is hormones or hormones. And as women, it's so easy for us for our hormones to get off balance. And
Mhm.
especially as we age, we go through so first we go through puberty, and that throws us off. Our bodies are meant to like get back in sync. But if we're not doing things correctly, it just gets thrown off more and more and more and more. And then by the time we hit menopause, we're a mess, right? So our hormones are just chemical messengers that travel through our body, and they give information to our glands, our tissues, our organs, and it tells them what needs to be done. And then each hormone has its own like role, right? So we have progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, we have cortisol, we have adrenal, we have vitamin D. We have so many different hormones in our body. Um, and they regulate our metabolism, our appetite, our stress response, our immune system, and so mood, so many more things. And so, depending on how our hormones interact and influence each other, is how we end up like in balance or out of balance. And unfortunately, because of the way we eat in this country, especially women, because we have more hormones than men, we end up out of balance because the food that we're eating throws off our insulin, which then throws off all the other hormones. Right? It's like a chain reaction. So poor diet can cause like high estrogen levels. And then, if we have high estrogen levels, our periods are more painful. We go through menopause earlier. We can have a high percentage of body fat, higher than what we're supposed to. And then that causes our stress levels to be off balance. And then we can have chronic stress, and then our cortisol levels get off balance. And then that causes estrogen dominance and blood sugar issues and digestive issues and on and on. And then we have the endocrine disruptors. And that's like things that we get from plastic, the BPA in plastics, parabens and lotions and shampoo and cleaners. And then we have medications. Medications also can throw us off. Anything from oral contraceptives to antidepressants, even steroids. And so that's one of the reasons why you shouldn't be on steroids all the time, right? It's supposed to be short
Mhm.
little dosage. Um, but even short little dosages still can throw you off. So we have to be super careful about not only what we're eating, but what we're putting on our body, because that can throw off our hormones. And our diet and lifestyle choices on a daily level can affect us. Let me just go back. And so I want you guys to think about one key Jen, maybe you can tell me one key insight that you learned in this short presentation, that maybe you didn't know before.
I mean, I know that I need to have the willpower. So I know just hearing you saying it and writing and telling us to write it down is probably gonna take, so I'm gonna take that away with from this. So that I can try and push myself, because I know how I never follow through with, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I want to do this because I want to lose the weight. I want to feel better, but then I just cave in and I just, go for that chocolate, or go for, because like I told you before, I have a very sweet tooth. So
Mhm.
I think from this, short little chat today, I'll take away with, writing that down, and making myself aware of it, and try to keep doing it, and go forward with it, and don't give up.
Yeah. So when you feel like you need that whatever chocolate or cake or whatever it is, do you find like it's usually in specific time of the day, or can it be like any time of the day?
I find it's after I eat. Immediately after I eat, I have to have something sweet.
Okay. So what about if you did something like make like a brownie, like a grain-free, sugar-free brownie. But for now, you can sweeten it with maybe a little bit of raw honey, not like pancake syrup.
Yeah,
I was gonna say raw honey, raw syrup. Not like pancake syrup, but just raw maple syrup, or a little bit of honey, and that'll
hmm
give it a little bit of sweetness. And then you can still have your dessert, but it's not gonna affect your body the same way.
right.
Because the problem is that the things that we buy at the store, it's not made the way like our grandparents made it, where it was just, oh, let me just put some flowers, a little sugar, and whatever. They're putting all these other chemicals in it, and then when
Yeah,
you put all the chemicals in it, it makes us addicted to them. And so we want more, we want more, we want more. And so if you can stop having those and maybe make something that'll last you the whole week, so you could do it on the
mm,
weekend, it'll last you the whole week, so you don't have to be thinking about it every single day,
hmm
and you just have that little bit after your dinner.
right. Yeah,
Just
that's
something to,
something. Yeah.
yeah,
hmm
just something to cure that sweet tooth.
Yeah,
That's how I started.
yeah.
And
Do you
and
have any ideas, aside from brownies, any other sweets that you
but
make
what's
that?
your favorite thing to eat?
I'm a chocolate person.
Chocolate. Okay, so am I. I get chocolate. Actually, I buy this chocolate from a farm, but you can get Human. The brand is called Human. It's like an H and a U, and then
I think I've seen that.
HU. Yeah. So that brand is very clean, and you would just need to do like a dark chocolate. You can't do
Okay,
like
yeah.
milk
I
chocolate.
like dark chocolate. Yeah.
Okay, so just do like a dark chocolate with some almonds in it,
Mm. hmm
and just have like a square. Try to
Yeah.
make that bar last the whole week.
Yeah. Okay.
That way.
Yeah.
I love chocolate too. And that's what I actually, I have that brand. I have the chocolate chips. And in the mornings, I'll have, after whatever I eat first thing in the morning, I'll have a little scoop of peanut butter with a couple of the chocolate chips from
Oh,
that
that's
brand.
great. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what I have as my snack. Because I do eat dessert after I eat also. But
hmm
I eat twice a day, so I'll have dessert
hmm
twice a day. Um, so I always do the peanut butter with the chocolate chips, and then in the evening, I normally have like some type of cookie or something, and this really thin dark chocolate with almonds in it.
Yeah.
And the almonds are
Okay.
good because it's gonna slow down that spike also. And
Right. Yeah, I
dark
love
chocolate
almonds.
is not as bad as
Yeah.
you know the milk chocolate.
Right.
And then just read the ingredients. You just need it to be clean. It doesn't need to have anything besides the chocolate and the almonds.
Right.
So if it's anything besides that, put it back.
Okay.
All right. Do you have any questions before we go?
Mm, no, not that I can think of right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
No,
I
I'm
was,
glad you did this. I'm so proud of you. I love that you're doing this.
oh, thank you.
And
Thank
you
you.
you see the difference. Even in your skin, have you noticed that your skin looks different?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%. And it's
Yeah.
the way I put on I don't buy fancy creams anymore. Well, first of all, your skin is going to be from the inside out,
Yeah.
but I still always like moisturize at night. But I use castor oil,
Yeah.
and
I
that's
use castor
all I
oil
use.
too.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I put
Yeah.
on.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's
and I love
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you look great.
Thank you. And it's doable. It's I
Yeah.
promise you it's doable.
Yeah. I know it is. It's just that, like you said, mindset. I gotta
Mindset.
get the mindset.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So just start catching those thoughts, write it down and replace it, something positive because
Mm-hmm.
you we can take any negative thought that we get and turn it into something positive.
Right.
So that's all you got to do.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. I hope you come
Well,
back
thank you.
tomorrow.
Yes, I will try my best.
Okay. I'll see you tomorrow.
Uh,
Have a
all
good
right. Take care.
day.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.